Hey everyone, I'm Kristen, the cross stitching runner, and welcome back to my Flosstube channel. Today is Friday the 25th of June and this is the 6th installment of my channel. This is where I talk about cross stitch and the projects I'm working on, some of the things I might have finished, as well as some life updates and things that are going on that may or may not have an impact on the cross stitch. If I have any haul, I'll share with you any of the products I've purchased or anything that I've come across that I think is really cool that I just really want to share with all of you. So with today's episode, I just want to try and provide all of you a bit more of an update or an intro on who I am and what I'm all about, because my very first Flosstube episode, the sound was absolutely horrible and I hadn't properly listened to it or appreciated the importance of a really good quality microphone, and I had made the very beginner novice mistake of assuming that the laptop that I'm filming on already has a built-in microphone that was going to have really good quality sound. But the good thing is you live and learn, and this is where at the moment I've got the headphones on and the microphone in it actually is brilliant. So I call myself the cross-stitching runner because it connects in with the blog that I created and I'm still working on for about 2 or 3 years ago. And I chose the name the cross-stitching runner because I cross-stitch nearly every day. It all varies to how much cross-stitch I do get done, but I do try to cross-stitch every day, and I'm a runner and I try to run as much as I can, I guess weather permitting, any health ailments and such that might happen. And for me, running is the best way for me to maintain my health. I do go to the gym and do various classes there in terms of like boxing and like weights and that kind of thing. And yeah, running somehow is something that has stuck, and I definitely understand people's perspectives of running, of going, oh, why on earth do you run? And especially when I tell them that I participate in fun runs, they're going, okay, that's a bit of an oxymoron. How can running be fun? And there are moments where I even ask myself that question, where I might not be feeling the greatest, or I'll be in the mood for going for a run, and then as soon as I start, my body might start whinging at me going, why on earth are you doing this? And I'll even be thinking that as well. And sometimes it's the challenge of it. I mostly stick to about 5 kilometers in distance, and sometimes that distance might extend out to closer to 10 kilometers. The furthest I've run is 14 kilometers, which is part of an annual running event called the City to Surf, and that is usually held up in Sydney, where we start in the CBD of Sydney and we run towards Bondi Beach. And that particular event was on my bucket list. It was something that I've heard other people that I've known over the years talk about, and they've participated in it. And there's one part of the event called Heartbreak Hill. It's a steep hill, and I'm glad that I participated in the event because I can say, yep, I've done it, and it was good. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but we'll wait and see. I'm not going to say never. And one of the running events that I'm actually about to participate in a bit over a week's time is up in Queensland at the Gold Coast. It's another one of my bucket list items. I'll just be running the 5K leg, and it's part of a larger event called the Gold Coast Airport Marathon. So the good thing with this particular event is that it enables people to enter in whatever event and distance that they're comfortable with. So they've also got the, I think, 10 kilometres. They've got the half marathon, which is a touch over 21 kilometres, and then they've got the full marathon, which is a bit over 43 kilometres. So this is where I'm actually quite happy with a 5K distance. It does require effort, but yeah, I'm not willing at the moment to put more effort in for the longer distances. So that's a bit of background for why I call myself the cross-stitching runner. And I am an Australian. I'm based here in Canberra, the capital of Australia, though it doesn't always seem like the capital of Australia until something goes wrong as far as politics are concerned. We've got blamed for everything, but that's a different story. So with Canberra, we are about 2.5 hours south of Sydney and about 7 to 8 hours. And this is as far as driving's concerned. We're about 7 to 8 hours north of Melbourne on the eastern side of Australia. And at the moment, it's winter, and it's been raining last couple of days. Today hasn't been too bad, but winter has well and truly made itself known in Canberra. And yeah, I've lived in Canberra, or the Canberra region, all my life. I've lived in my current house for a bit over 10 years. We'll actually be coming up to 11 years in August. And I live here with my boyfriend, and we don't have any pets or kids or anything like that, but we have both grown up with dogs. I grew up on a farm out at Gundaroo, and so I had the luxury, so to speak, of growing up with not only dogs, but we also had cats. We still have cows, beef cattle. Mum and dad still have chooks as well, or chickens. We've also used to have horses, ducks, geese. Thankfully, we don't have geese anymore. And for a brief time there, we also had some sheep. Thankfully, we don't have sheep anymore. I've grown up with cows or cattle, and I guess I'm used to them, as big and scary as they can be at times. Sheep, to me, have a lot more effort to manage and maintain, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, growing up on a farm, I did enjoy having the freedom of being able to go outside, run around the paddocks, and do what we do, or do what we did, where we could be loud and all the rest. And it would only be if it was a calm day where there wasn't too much wind that we might occasionally hear what was happening over at the neighbours. But yeah, most of the time we could see our neighbours but not really hear them, and vice versa. So it was pretty cool. That was good. So I guess I've gotten used to living in the suburbs in Canberra, of having the luxury of having shops and other things close by, but I do miss the peace and quiet that the country has. So it is a bit of a struggle at times finding that balance. So that said, I mentioned just before that I got my name as part of a blog that I have had for about 2 to 3 years, and with that blog, it is something that I started with the aim of, I guess, trying to put a different spin or perspective on cross stitch, to actually try and bring in maybe a different crowd of people to cross stitch, who may have primarily thought that cross stitch was just something that their older relatives did, whether it was their grandparents or their grandmothers or aunts and such. And I guess I also wanted to try and get people thinking just a little bit differently, like if they already did cross stitch, just yeah, just questioning things a little bit, or trying to see things from a different perspective. And one of those perspectives I was actually reminded of when I was watching Misty Purcell's Flosstube today. It was her episode number 68, and at one stage during her Flosstube, she was talking a little bit about perfectionism and having that in association with some of the patterns that she designs and stitches and that kind of thing. And I wrote a blog post probably a couple of years ago now on perfectionism in cross stitch, because I was going through a bit of an internal battle as well about perfectionism, and it was partly related to some difficulties I was experiencing at work at the time, and the manager I had, she was a perfectionist. I know I've got perfectionist tendencies as well, but I guess I was questioning why perfection in cross stitch was so important and whether it really should be important. And especially when I've been stitching different patterns over the years, and even with some of my own patterns, while I've been watching and listening to many other Flosstube channels, it's been reassuring to know that it's almost worth embracing the not being perfect with cross stitch, and embracing the mistakes that we make, unless of course there really is a significant problem, or not problem, but significant mistake that we've made in our stitching, then we'd start grumbling about frogs coming to visit, especially Ferdinand, I understand. And that's where it's actually prompted me also to start working on a pattern series called Flosstube Made Me Do It. And it's not only based around some of the mistakes we might make in stitching and that kind of thing, but it's also some of the key words I've heard people use about being enabled by another person might be sharing a pattern or project that they're working on, and the people who are watching that episode will be like, oh my gosh, I must stitch that pattern, I must get my hands on it. Or there might be some flosses that have come out that people have purchased, or something to that effect, and they'll show everyone how they've used that particular floss or thread in their projects. And I think in all instances really it is just stunning, and that's where it in many cases has prompted others to go out and maybe purchase that pattern and the threads that the people have used to then stitch it up. And I know I've been guilty of being enabled by the likes of the Sunshine Stitches, for example, and some of the projects that they've worked on over the years and shared with us in their episodes, where I love a lot of horror and psychological thrillers and those sorts of movies and books and that kind of thing. And I haven't gotten around to stitching too many patterns yet, but I know that I've gone out and purchased like the Headless Horseman project, or not project, I've got project on the brain, for that pattern. And I've also purchased similar Halloween style of patterns, and I've definitely really appreciated all the Halloween style themed patterns that not only the Sunshine Stitches stitch, but the likes of the Steel City Stitches, for example, some of the projects they've worked on. So that's where I know I've definitely been influenced in that sense. And I've been falling in love with all of these different fabrics that all the different floss tubers have shared over the years as well, where the hand dyed fabric, and in my previous I think it might be Flosstube episode 4, where I shared some of my haul, and one of the pieces of fabric that I've purchased is this pink marbled hand-dyed fabric, and then another piece I purchased was the I think it was the 32 count, or no, it's 28 count Lugana, and it's got the sparkly gold threads through it. And I've seen other people use similar fabric, and I've gone, oh my gosh, I really want to get my hands on that kind of fabric. So that's where I've been well and truly enabled in that sense as well. And I've loved learning about some of the different fancy flosses that people have, and especially in Flosstube episode 4 that I've done, when I am talking about the cottage garden threads and the Brindabella threads and all similar threads to them. I've just been blown away that it's available here in Australia. That was something that I just really hadn't realised or appreciated until I had properly stepped into the Crafty Frog store, where they stock a lot of those threads. And I had fangirl moments of going, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. I've heard people talk so much about cottage garden threads especially, and just being able to see it in person and be able to touch the threads and understand and appreciate why these threads have become so popular for many stitches. And as a result of getting this sort of inspiration and such, just by watching all the different Flosstube channels out there, I've started stitching up. I guess this is probably a work in progress in terms of my attempt or start on the Flosstube series of Flosstube Made Me Do It. And last episode, that was just about 5 to 6 minutes long, I showed everyone this project. This is just part of what I'm working on, and this is, I haven't fully charted this one up. This one I've been working on the fly just a little bit, and I'm hoping that I can enhance this a little bit with PC Stitch and go from there. But this is what I was talking about, the fancier floss. So this particular thread, by memory, I've used cottage garden threads. I'll even have to double check my previous Flosstube episode as to remembering what the name of this floss was, but it's definitely cottage garden threads and DMC. But what I also wanted to share with you all today was this banner that I'm slowly working on. And I guess the challenge that I've had is figuring out about seams and I guess extending out fabric. So this is 14 count Ada, and this could be it's been dyed, obviously, like it's a navy blue and such, but it's not that stiff Ada that we're all used to and sometimes cringe with. But with this is sort of the banner that I have charted up a little bit, and all of this is using fancy floss. So a majority of this is cottage garden threads, and I think there might be a component of it where I think some of it might be Brindabella threads as well. I think this light green thread may be part of the Brindabella threads collection. Itchy nose, sorry. But the aim with this particular banner is that it's going to potentially form part of a big drum. So the idea is that I want to try and have this on the top and this to circle around on the bottom of it. But then at the moment I haven't fully charted all of this up, so this is just an idea at the moment that I'm playing around with. But I'm actually really liking how it's come up, and there's still quite a bit that I want to add to this particular banner. So hopefully in a few weeks' time I'll be able to share a bit more with all of you. So that's pretty much it for me for this episode. I'm not quite sure when I'll next be able to record an episode. It may end up being at least 2 weeks from now, because today's Friday. So this time next week, I'm actually going to be up in Queensland if everything goes okay. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping it all goes well, because there have been some COVID flare-ups in Sydney, and Canberra is surrounded by the state of New South Wales, and this is where I'm feeling a little bit nervous about any potential changes that could happen as a result of maybe more cases happening, and more hotspots happening. I guess I'm a bit worried that Queensland might decide to close its borders completely to ACT and New South Wales, regardless of whether ACT has had cases or not. So hopefully that is not the case. ACT has been pretty lucky so far, in terms of, I guess, active cases, hotspots, that kind of thing. So I hope it stays that way, but I know that that our luck could run out. So wish me luck, and hopefully everything goes well. And if nothing else, I will hopefully see you all in a couple of weeks, and I'll hopefully have a lot more updates and such to share with all of you in terms of what I've been working on, and potentially some haul, because I might end up stumbling across some really awesome stores up on the Gold Coast, and hopefully I can restrain myself, because sometimes if I don't have a limit on how much I'm going to spend, or have any idea of what I'm going to purchase, then it'd be like, okay, I'm going to have that and that and that and that, and just maybe buy half the store. Hopefully that's not the case, because I'm going to still need to try and fit it all into my suitcase. So we'll wait and see how that goes. But until next time, I'll catch you all later. Thank you. Bye.